True or false? You need to feel 100% strong before you start exercising after illness.
That's definitely false.
Thank you. Number 2, what's your go-to movement when motivation is low?
I would say biking because it's low impact.
Number 3, one thing cancer taught you about your body that you didn't know before.
I would say that your body is stronger than you think. It can overcome anything.
What's one myth about women and strength training that needs to go? Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Hormones at Hope. And this excitement is beyond describable. And of course, I get excited and thrilled with every interview and every guest that I have. But this is very near and dear to me. I'm going to introduce you to my personal trainer, Coach Garcia, today. And, the reason to have her on our podcast today, she's one of the health care professionals who's not a physician, but whose, mission is beyond, just a physician exam room care. It's outdoorsy. It's also inspiring and motivating people. I've had personal amazing stories and success with her. And today I wanted you and the entire world to also get that great wisdom and advice. So welcome, Coach Garcia.
Thank you.
If in brief, you could share, yes, you are the coach, but what's your background like and how did this Coach Garcia come about, the name?
Yeah, so it actually started in my backyard.
Your backyard.
Yeah, in the backyard. This was right before COVID had happened. And I knew that there was going to be like a lot of people that want to go to the gyms. So I was like, I'm going to start something, just a small group, to where people feel comfortable. And I set up my backyard, set up some obstacles, of exercises. And, I prayed about it. I was like, I hope I get at least 2 people. I would be so happy. And my first group session, I got 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
So all your local
Yeah.
neighbors.
Yeah, they're in town. Yeah. It was just barely spreading the word, but you know what I mean? So I was really grateful for that. And little by little, everybody started telling everybody, and then it just started growing. That's when I was like, oh man, this is getting big. So I started rearranging my garage, and me and my roommate, and I turned it into a full gym.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So
So
backyard to
yeah, from the backyard. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful. So, Coach Garcia, we have, we start with rapid fire questions, and it's usually true or false, yes or no, or if there's a specific word or a comment you wanted to make, that's fine, like a one-liner.
Mhm.
And these are more myth-busting or inspirational for our audience. So, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Number 1, true or false? You need to feel 100% strong before you start exercising after illness.
That's definitely false.
Thank you. Number 2, what's your go-to movement when motivation is low?
I would say biking because it's low impact.
Number 3, one thing cancer taught you about your body that you didn't know before.
I would say that your body is stronger than you think. It can overcome anything. But the main tool is going to be your mindset. And if you believe that it will happen, it's going to happen.
Beautiful. Number 4, what's one myth about women and strength training that needs to go?
One of the big ones is going to be that strength training is for guys, and I don't want to look like a man. Those are 2 big ones. I say that is wrong. You can still build lean muscle and look like a girl, And also, most importantly, it helps with managing your weight, managing your hormones, estrogen.
Number 5, your favorite mindset mantra when it gets hard.
I'm going to say, let's go.
Number 6, one thing young adults should do today to build stamina for the future.
You want to be consistent and start now.
Consistent and
Yeah.
start now. Okay. Number 7, true or false? Rest days are just as important as training days.
True. Absolutely.
Okay. Number 8, most underrated movement for long-term strength and energy.
Walking.
Okay. For long-term strength and energy, walking. Beautiful. That's in our daily discussions for every patient. So thank you. Thank you for re-emphasizing that fact. Okay. So, Coach Garcia, now we would love to know about you. You're spreading the wisdom of movement, and it's not just spreading the word; you're actually living it in reality, and also inspiring so many of us around you.
Yeah.
You are a cancer survivor, a coach, and a runner, right? So, tell us, what role did movement, as such, play in your healing journey? You talked about mindset, of course, physically, psychologically. So, how is exercise or movement or physical activity impacting that part of life?
Prior to cancer, I was in the best shape of my life. You know, I was running 10 miles a day. I was strength training 6 days a week. I was ripped with muscle. And then one day cancer hit and my whole life changed. I believe that the one thing that saved my life was the exercise, the movement, even while in the hospital, while everything was happening. And even during chemo, I kept moving. I never stopped. I took bands to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I was doing bands off of my hospital bed.
Yeah.
I believe that that's truly what saved my life. So, I mean, I didn't have any underlying diseases, but I didn't have any because I was working out prior.
Right.
So that's what I mean by it's exercise saved my life. It all fell into place.
Yeah.
So I had strength to get through,
Yes.
my battle.
Yeah. And how is your life today?
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, everything is great. I fought cancer. Chemo was hard. You have 6 rounds of chemotherapy and you have poison going through you. And it's either you're going to make it or you're not. So mentally, you have to prepare yourself for that. And then you have to fight. And that's what I did. And I knew that I was going to beat it from the moment that they told me. And they even doubted me.
They meaning the physicians or your
Yes. Yeah. They doubted me. Doctor said, a week, 2 weeks if you're lucky. And here I am. So, it's all about the mindset and just staying active.
Yeah, how beautiful. And now you're inspiring all of us. I had one of my patients, she had this adrenal cancer.
Okay.
And she used to be a Zumba teacher.
Wow.
This was in Nebraska. And, very, very toned. And this cancer hit. And there's no risk factor. There was nothing that, was causing it that she's done by her choices. And she was hospitalized, needed a heart transplant, kidneys failed, everything failed. But she came out of it.
Wow.
Like, I followed her for 2 years. She completely, came out of it. And it was one of the, miraculous moments. And it was the same thing, that her athletic personality, her consistency, her discipline, and her mindset helped her fight through it. And she was back into her routine and she recovered, she healed despite, several surgeries. Everything got back to normal. So I feel like we had one of the rapid fires about young adults, right? And then, like you said, that start today itself. And I feel like we don't exercise to say that, oh, we want to get strong just in case something happens.
Yes.
But it's also the mindset. We just get stronger no matter what.
Yes, exactly. With the young ones, I wanted to emphasize on that. So I currently work at the Boys and Girls Club, and my position is strictly called triple play, and that is keeping the young ones active. So you're never too young to start. You start them off at a young age. You teach them, and teach them discipline, and that's how they learn, and they continue it on. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. So now with our young adults, because those are my big subset of patients, or even, when I teach, is that they don't have time. And then comes these, I would say, middle-aged adults where they're just busy with life and profession. So people think that they need an actual gym. They think that they will need a personal trainer just to help them start. Or they just need a perfect schedule that, oh, things will change. Or maybe after a year, my kids will go out or they'll, go to college. And that's when I'll start working on movement or exercise or physical activity. What do you have to say to them? Either they're tired or they just don't have time. How would you inspire them? And what can they start with right away?
As a trainer, I would say that there's no excuses. And I would explain to them how important they are and they matter,
Yeah.
and you have to make yourself a priority. And you have to think about the future as in like, where do you see yourself in 20 years? You know, do you want to be helping people? You know what I mean? Or do you want your kids taking care of you? You know,
Absolutely.
it's the truth. You know, it might hurt to say that, but it's the truth. So you have to put yourself first. You have to get up, set baby goals, you know, for yourself. As simple as, okay, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to walk around the block. I'm going to walk for 10 to 15 minutes for 2 weeks. And then after that, I'm going to challenge myself to move to 20 minutes. And I'm going to do that for 1 month. Just like that. Simple, stay consistent, you know, set the goal, stay consistent, and then just keep building. And that's it.
Yeah. Consistency. Yeah. But you have to start and no excuses.
Yes. No excuses.
You know, having the clarity or the vision, like you said, like figuring out your why is so important, and then prioritizing yourself, like you said. Beautiful. For our, young adults and especially women, because we had that in our rapid fire question, how do you see women? And of course, we can correlate this with, our parents or grandparents, where we see that there is muscle loss as there is aging happening, right? So what do you tell women, men in midlife age group about endurance, about building muscle strength?
I mean, it'll save your life, you know? And like I said, it prevents those underlying diseases from happening. You know what I mean? Like you could have high blood pressure. You start running, you start strength training, no more pills. You're good. You know what I mean? It's little things like that. So I would encourage, you know, exercise is the number one healer.
Yeah. And number one medicine.
Yeah, it's the number one medicine. There you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of having to take, you know, when I was going through chemo, I was taking 12 pills a day, every day. That's a lot on the stomach.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But thank God that I was able to handle it. But, you know, there's people that are diabetic, you know, they have to take the insulin pills every single day. Exercise will help you. It's the key. No questions asked. It might hurt a little bit, but it will pay off.
Yes, absolutely. So running, right? That's one of your passions.
Yes.
Tell us something like, how do you, and I feel like motivation just comes within, and sometimes we don't have to think that I need to motivate myself. Just go do it.
Yeah.
And you're one of those, and I've learned that from you too. So how do you, like after recovery or while you were in the recovery phase, how did you show up? What was like your mindset that, okay, now I need to target, say, 30 miles or covering half a marathon? What was going on for that phase? Like, how did you end up reaching your goal again during a recovery phase?
Honestly, there was a point when I was in the hospital and a pastor came to talk to me. That was the time when they were thinking like, oh, you know, she's not going to make it, you know? And he asked me some questions. And one of the questions is, what do you like to do? And I said, run. And he said, you're going to run again. He told me that. And I looked at him right in the eyes. He had these big blue eyes. And I believed him. And you know, a month went by. I started my chemotherapy and I kept telling myself when I got done with chemo, I was going to go run. I didn't care about time. I was just going to run nice and easy. 6 months after chemo, I ran a half marathon, 13.1 miles. And it wasn't fast, but I did it.
Yeah.
And that was a miracle. And after that, since then, I've done 5.
Okay. Wow. So 6 months, within 6 months.
Within 6 months, I ran a half marathon.
Wow. Okay.
And that's my body completely depleted.
Yeah.
I lost all muscle. I dropped down to 120 pounds. I had just drained, you know, from all the chemo. And I still got the strength to get up, start walking, moving little by little. And then I completed the half marathon.
Beautiful. I think you're going to conquer more now.
Yeah.
Or here onwards. So one of the things in women is, they head into this perimenopause, menopause period, or there's a lack of estrogen either early on or when they're going through this phase of perimenopause, menopause. And it feels like, the world is falling apart for many of them. And me being in that age now, what do you have to tell them? Because you've personally experienced, chemotherapy-induced estrogen deficiency. And today, within your life example, 6 months and you're crossing the half marathon. Any other words of wisdom, advice, inspiration that you can share?
Yeah, honestly, I have to admit that after chemo,
Uh-huh.
I actually went into perimenopause
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And I have to say that the experience was quite hard, and it still is. So the big thing was the weight change.
Mm.
It's almost like you can't control it, and I'm running 6 miles a day, but it's still, there's still the battle, but you can't give up. You have to continue to exercise. The strength training is definitely going to help you, even if it's just 2 5-pound dumbbells. That's it. 3 exercises, 10 rounds. That's all you need. I would just encourage them to, like I said, build that strength training and cardio, and it could be, if it's not in the neighborhood, it could be in the gym on the treadmill at an incline, or like the Stairmaster. All of that, it's going to help you.
Yeah.
And what it helps with is the mood.
Yeah.
It changes everything,
Yeah.
So it's really important that they keep moving.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Keep moving.
Yeah.
You also mentioned, you said true for how important resting period is versus, we working out. So what is the importance of that rest period for you personally and of course for when you're training your clients?
The rest is crucial. You need your muscles to, repair. So in that time during recovery, your muscles are, repairing, building the tissue, the new tissue, and you're also replenishing your energy, for the next workout. So, and it's also good for the mindset. You know what I mean? On your rest days, go get a massage.
Yeah.
Go to the spa. You deserve that. That's your reward. Your rest days are your reward for all of your hard work that you've done during the week. Meditation, I really believe in that. That is a big one. On recovery days, you should definitely be meditating. Take 30 minutes to yourself in a quiet room with some relaxing music and just live in the moment.
Yeah. Live in the moment.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. One very, very good quality or attribute that I really love about you is that there is no negative in you. Like, you never have, when you are expressing or even your vibes, your energy, and when you are training us, like in Deepak, you're like all, today you actually use power, 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 and, don't give up. And one of the lovely, that you are in like our heads, that you cannot give up on me. So it's like non-giving. So we cannot give up on our coach, right? Where do you get that from?
Honestly, I get it from my athlete side, and I also live in a household full of athletes.
Yeah.
So my brother plays baseball.
Uh,
My sister's a tennis player. My dad runs, and he was a baseball player as well.
Yeah.
My mom rides horses professionally.
Uh-huh.
So everybody is an athlete, and in the house there's no negative talk. Everything is positive.
Yeah.
You won't hear any negative. If there is, someone turns it to a positive right away.
Yeah.
So we all kind of fuel off of each other, and you want that positive environment. And if it's not in your household, then you should apply it. Every time somebody says something negative, you should turn it into a positive right away. Start the chain reaction.
Yes.
So that's pretty much where I get it from, is my household.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's in your genes. Yeah. You have the positive gene.
Yeah.
And what about, it's the nutrition aspect of it? I'm pretty sure you focused on that also. So for yourself, how do you determine that these are the choices that I make for my body?
Gotcha.
Like, what's your thought process when you're doing that? Or you're feeding this body, this engine, because it needs to, work this way for the marathon, for the half marathon, or to keep me healthy, or to
Gotcha.
prevent any form of other diseases for the future. So how do you take care of that?
So the first thing is hydration. For me as a runner, you want to make sure that you're hydrated. Everybody is different. It depends on what you're doing. Everybody's body's different. For me, I love carbs because I'm a runner. So it's okay for me to eat them. I can eat carbs all day, especially if I run 6 to 10 miles, For someone else, that might be different. So it's a little hard with nutrition because it depends on the person and what they're going through. You know what I mean? But, if they are trying to cut weight and they want to be in a calorie deficit, then I would say they need to be in, 1,500 calorie deficit and then maybe throw some fasting in there, a 3-day fast to kickstart it. But that might, like I said, that might not work for some people. So it just depends on the person.
Sure.
So for a runner, for me, like I said, I love carbs. So I could eat carbs. It's fine for me. Stay hydrated. Make sure you get your vegetables, fresh vegetables every single day. You know what I mean? Protein, especially for us women, we need protein within 30 minutes after your workout. And
What about your sleep?
oh, sleep, yes, of course. Sleep is important. For me, it's been a little bit of a battle, just because I was in the hospital for a month. And so, what it's like in the hospitals, it's very noisy.
Noisy, yeah.
There's continuous beeps going on. They're coming in to check your blood pressure every 30 minutes. So it's hard to sleep. So I've been getting back to it, trying to adapt, with my sleep cycle.
Yes.
So, but it is very important. You know what I mean? Like, so that you can perform better.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a great activity. Sleep is a great activity just for recovery.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. You also talk a lot about breathing or breath work, especially when you're running or even when you train us for exercise. Can you guide us through that?
Yeah, so I do get that question quite a bit. How do you breathe? So for me as a runner, I pull from my stomach and then I exhale. So you'll see like quite a bit of runners, they'll be running and they'll be like huffing and puffing, like, you know what I mean? You want to control it, and inhale, pull through your stomach and then exhale. I know it sounds weird, but if you try it while you're running, you will see how good you feel, So it's really just all about control.
You love shoes. So yes, so can you tell us anything about, why, like what is it because you're running that you enjoy having, I don't know, 100, 400 shoes or pairs of shoes, but what makes you happy?
So yeah, I do have a little bit of an obsession with shoes. And I think everybody that follows me on Instagram probably knows that I post every single shoe that I have. So for me, yeah, for a runner, most of the time we can only put about 300 miles max on a shoe. And so I run a lot of miles. So that's why I get, a new pair of shoes here and there. But it's important because you want to take care of your feet. We don't realize that, especially nurses that are on their feet for 12 hours a day. And, they get home and their feet are aching really bad. You want to take care of your feet.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with runners and walkers.
Yeah.
You want to, athletes in general, you want to take care of your feet, which lead me to the next thing is that you also want a nice, good, comfortable shoe, but you also want a good recovery shoe. And my two go-to recovery shoes are going to be the Ophos and the Canes footwear, which I'm wearing today. Amazing shoe after a long run or you've been on your feet. It's very important, to take care of your feet. So definitely I would recommend Fleet Feet. You can go there. They'll measure your foot.
Yeah.
Get you in the right shoe that you need because everybody has a different kind of foot.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Yeah. That's how I ended up getting the right shoes for myself too. Yeah. One of the other things, like this reminds me of my patient from yesterday. She's doing amazingly well. She's lost 30 pounds and she had, a 33-year-old, ethnicity plays a role. So she's a Hispanic and insulin resistance, prediabetes, polycystic ovarian syndrome. So with lifestyle interventions and, her consistency, 30 pounds is amazing for in the last 1 year for her. And despite being, busy with her profession, when I looked at her body composition, she had, good muscle mass in the lower body. Most of the visceral fat or the fat distribution, it was the highest in her trunk and upper body. And, she felt strong. And yes, there was some increase in her muscle mass. So I had to focus on, figuring out what is your routine like in your workouts. So she says, I do 3 days of legs and the other days I do cardio. So technically, it's just lower body,
Got it.
right?
Yeah.
If you can share, why it's important, because you mentioned about the myth on women and strength training that, they think that we'll just get bulky or we'll have six packs and we'll look like males, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
You just get stronger.
Yes.
So with that experience, like, with my patient, I discussed with her about some upper body exercises, core, and focusing on that as well, so that we can have a better, body fat and body muscle distribution. Any of your favorite tips for core and upper body workouts or even home exercises?
Yeah, definitely. One of my favorites is going to be Tabata. It's an amazing workout.
Yeah.
It's
I love
fun.
them.
Yeah.
Especially when the coach is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you put on some Tabata music and you basically just go with the music, and it tells you exactly what to do. So you pick eight exercises, and then you play the music, and like I said, you go with it. It's a full body workout. So you can, out of those 8 exercises, you can choose 4 upper body, 4 lower body, and there you go. You're done. You do 30 minutes of Tabata, 30 to 45 minutes, and you feel like you just jumped in a pool
Yeah.
because you're drenched.
Yeah.
And like I said, you get a full body workout, and you're getting core in there at the same time.
Yeah.
But you can mix it up. You can start off with some core workout and then hit Tabata,
Yeah.
or vice versa, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
That would be.
What do you feel about the daily push-ups? Because you give us that homework. So anything that can help the audience as well.
Yeah, especially women. Push-ups are amazing. They're amazing for everybody, but for women, because we do lack a little bit of that upper body strength. It's a perfect way to build your strength. You know what I mean? There's women that can do more push-ups than men. It's possible. Anything is possible. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a great exercise for your body.
Yeah, I agree. I hate them.
A lot of people do hate push-ups and pull-ups.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not like pull-ups, but they make you strong.
You're so right. Yeah, they do make you strong. Yes. Yeah. I wanted to share with the audience, even though this is more like a personal experience, that, I had a goal. I was never athletic. I was born and raised in India. And, just whatever PT exercises we had in school or just bicycling, and, the activity is just ongoing. We didn't have screens at that time. But there was no specific sport that I was engaged in, except for basketball during my college days. And then when I moved here, it was bicycling, walking, but there was no focus on specifically muscle strength training. When I completed my endocrinology fellowship, and by that time I was 33, 35, and then moved to California, that's when I got into the understanding of, why muscle mass is important and how I should be focusing on strength training. But it was very difficult for me to build muscle. And, I had other personal trainers. I was able to lift heavy, but I remained lean in terms of the weight and felt like I improved my strength, but never had muscle gains as such. And that also reflected my weight. Weight remained the same. Or I lost weight then in case I missed a meal or so, because you need more calories. Yeah. But since I've met you, and it's almost been 9 months, I actually had a goal. And this was after, trial and errors. I thought, okay, I'm going too slow with my muscle mass gain. So let me just put my yearly goal. And that's helped me a lot, like to have goals, even though they're, like you said, small steps at a time, which was 3.5 pounds of weight gain, which is all muscle, in 2025. And I broke my own record when I'm able to say it's 4.7 pounds of muscle mass from holidays in November, December.
Wow.
To June of 2025.
Wow.
Right? So that's all kudos to you. If I didn't have you, I wouldn't be able to like focus on those. And, it's mostly glutes. And I was actually telling you this morning that I don't feel my bones anymore. The glutes are important. And of course, the leg muscles, and gradually building my upper body strength too. So, if I can start at age 44, 43, right? I don't see that age in as excuse. And like you said, gender is not an excuse. And your work is not an excuse. Your kids are not an excuse. Your education is not an excuse. And I would, if I were you also, I would start today, just after listening to your story. Yes, absolutely. Any last words of wisdom, any quotes that you really enjoy, or anything positive that you could share before we end our discussion today?
I just would like to say, it's never too late, no matter what, it's never too late. You can, just start with little steps and, start increasing from there. And discipline is a big thing. You have to commit to it, make a commitment, set goals and make a commitment and don't give up,
Yes.
you know.
Yes, don't give up. Yes, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Coach.
You're welcome.
Thank you everyone for watching. And if you wanted to hit our other episodes, we have episodes on endocrinology, on gastroenterology, gut microbiome. Coming up is nutrition as well as protein intake. So I will see you next week. Thank you.